What's up, everyone? Be the installer. Hey, happy Friday. Going to go over the S95D. I'm excited for this because I got this. The video's not coming out for a week, so you guys that are here on the live stream will get an early look at this. I'm going to have a little sound overlay here, so I got to check the sound. There we go. Now I can see comments. So before I get too far into it, I will wait for a second for anyone else who wants to jump on, and then we will go from there. I have footage of the S95D. I also have footage against the LG M3, so you guys can see whether you want to do, glossy or matte finish screen. So we can roll some footage and check it out. I'm not going to stay on for more than an hour though, so ask me any questions you may have in the comments, and I'll try to hit them up as quickly as possible. And I have notes on basically what my review is going to contain. But as we go through, we'll check it out. So let's see. We got a couple people in here. Yeah, there's some people in here. Hope y'all are doing good. Any comments? You can hear me okay? I see CJ Challenges says, can't wait to hear your thoughts. This light's kind of like right in the way, man. Right in the way. Lauren, what's up? Kyle, what's up? Great videos like always. Well, it's early in the year. I haven't been on point as much as other people with regards to some of this, but I haven't gotten all these TVs so quickly, and we had some other videos to do. So it is what it is. Eventually we get them, and eventually we make some good content. So what do you guys want to know about this S95D? Obviously it has the Tizen software, right? Is it playing? Oh yeah, it's playing right now, but not much going on yet. The Tizen software. So, I mean, it's not a whole lot new with regards to that. There is this new Daily Plus. We were talking about this, the Daily Plus tab, which has got some like apps that you can go to. So that's kind of cool that you have the ability to connect like Samsung Health. There was like a Philips Hue app in there. So you can kind of see what's going on, your schedule, things like that. Probably not a huge benefit to you. It's probably not the main reason you're going to buy a TV, is what my point is. But still, I think it's pretty awesome. Give me one sec here. I never sent that email. Got to send the email. Give me 1 second. Resolve schedule time. Send now. There we go. Get a couple more people on here in my email list, which is what I send out every Sunday for the videos. Okay, my thoughts on what I think about this versus the A95L. That was a question I've already seen. So I will respond to that first, since it's the question. So I have the A95L is my main TV, and this is pretty awesome. This is pretty bright. It's probably brighter than my A95L, though in my bedroom, I can't really use full brightness anyways. Hey, cheers, by the way, if you guys are drinking. This is my fantastic Infinity Gauntlet mug that I never really use, that I'm using today. But it doesn't keep it very warm. It's already getting cold. I think the A95L or the S95D would be fantastic. I will give you a little spoiler. I like the matte finish on this. I'm going to show you the matte finish here in a bit, and how it looks compared to the M3 OLED, which I think they're both awesome, but clearly it looks fantastic. And so I like it against the A95L as well. But the thing is A95L has a Google TV operating system, which I like a little bit better. I would imagine the Samsung's a better gaming TV. I don't really game. It has the One Connect box, which is nice for like keeping it clean. If your HDMI cords are up on the wall already, it might just be easier to plug them into like the A95L. But if you're putting this over a cabinet and stuff, it may not matter. But I like the One Connect box and how it fits together. We didn't put any like unboxing footage in this, did we? No. This is just video footage, so no unboxing footage. But I think the A95L is probably superior when it comes to upscaling and for motion and for color accuracy and things like that. But this TV is legit, and I think it's nice. So let's see. Wish a lot of windows and overhead lights. Will the matte help or hurt? Okay, let's just go to that because I don't mind. Let's go to some of the comparison footage because I know people will probably want to see that. Let's see where it is. Okay. And someone said viewing angle too. So we'll show you those viewing angles in a second. Okay. Do you have the glossy film before, Eric? Or the angle stuff? It's angled and then straight on?
At the end, pretty much, is where you...
There we go. Okay, so here is how it kind of looks with the two TVs off. So, and there's Caesar at the bottom. It's pretty funny. So this is in a really bright room with a really bright light. Okay, that is a very bright light. And so there are overhead lights in this room. There's lights behind over here on the left. Okay, now that the TV comes back on. This might also be a little bit overexposed, the content, because we have, we wanted to make sure it looked good in the room. So as you can see, you can kind of tell the S95D is brighter than the M3. That should be pretty evident. Obviously, it better be brighter than last year's non-MLA wireless OLED, right? So it's pretty straightforward on that from that respect. But when you have, I think we kind of lower the exposure here in a minute. Let me see. Because it was, let's see, there we go. Okay, so now the room, we darkened the exposure a little to make it so you could see. So now you can kind of see, we have that light over here. You can't even see it behind where it says Fallout, where Fall Guy. The light should be visible in there, but you can't. You can kind of see it down underneath the top part when we kind of go back and forth a little bit, but it's hard to see on the actual S95D. Whereas you can clearly see it on the M3. So here, give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it back up. So I have, let's see, I don't have the light on. Why don't I have the light on? I'm trying to find content. Okay, maybe we just did comparison footage here. This is all new footage to me. So you can see right here, like you can barely see it on the left, but you can clearly see it on the right, even on a brighter area. So the light's on there, but you can't see it on the Samsung on the left. So it's just interesting for me because this is kind of the test we needed to see in order to figure out, like, is it going to be a bother? Is it going to be, you know, good? Here, Kyle, you're asking, how is it off angle? I mean, that was where we had more footage, it looks like, that Eric has. I mean, the TV looks fantastic off angle. The S95D off angle looks just as good as the other one, pretty much straight on. So, I mean, I'm impressed with how good that looks. They're a little out of focus, probably. It's not really out of focus, but yeah, I mean, the QD OLEDs have fantastic off-angle viewing. It doesn't matter where you are in the room. It's amazing. So I'm pretty impressed with that for sure. How does it work with the S9 or the 998D soundbar? I have not gotten that soundbar. I was hoping to get it with this TV, but I don't have it. I will say that the sound on this is not fantastic. Oh, you can also see a little bit of the glare right here on the Samsung S95D here on the right side of it. Here, I'm going to go back to yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of glare, but this is a really tough angle, and there's a big light up on top there, a skylight that's making it this is about as bad as it could look from this angle. And meanwhile, the M3 is more straight on, so it's got a little advantage here, but still there's more reflection in the M3 and it's darker, as you can see there too. But the sound is not great on the TV. So the speakers are all in the back, and they have a strip of speakers on each side kind of facing backwards. And then they have those like little passive radiators, or like regular radiators. I'm not exactly sure what you call those. And I think the sound when in the room like this, where there's nothing in the back of it, it's kind of like, because it's not ideal to have the TV sitting out in the middle of the room. So I would probably just get a sound bar, and then I would just use that. And so then not a big deal. So I think it would probably be awesome with the 990D. That sound bar is fantastic, and I want to get one. Also, this is not a sponsored video, but I also have some links in the description. If you guys are looking for any Mother's Day gifts, I have some stuff in there, including the new Watch 6 is one of those big things that they're promoting. So I guess, I don't know, is that sponsored? It's not really sponsored. I'm just promoting it. So there you go. Maybe it is sponsored, I guess. We make commission off some of the links, so I guess you could say either way. But if you guys are looking for Mother's Day gifts, I got this for Jen. The video came out like maybe a week ago. Feel free to check that out. I think they're pretty awesome. I've always had a Samsung watch. I'm going to pin this comment here so you guys can check it out if you'd like. How do you pin the comment? Pin comment. There you go. Boom. But yeah, you know, if you have a Samsung, it's great to have the Samsung watch. I have the 5 Pro instead of the 6, but Jen has the 6 the Galaxy Watch6. Fantastic, auto workouts, auto detect, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the actual TVs. So let me get back to the questions you guys have. Okay. Someone says they love their TV. Coating is like magic and the blacks look good. It's bright as hell. Coming from the S95C. So X for X, you had the S95C. Now you have the S95D. That's interesting that you think it's that much brighter. I can't remember, and I don't keep measurements on file of what it is. However, I know that ratings gave this a very high score. The only thing that kind of suffered compared to other top OLEDs was the upscaling. And that doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, depends on what you're watching, trying to get it to fast forward. It's not doing it. Maybe I can't do it when I have a comment up. There we go. Oh, that's because I'm way up. That's what it is. Okay. We did some gaming too. We can look at that. Just let me know what kind of content you guys watch. I'm going to move down and just see what you guys. Is it good for watching sports? That was kind of what we were talking about. Upscaling is not fantastic. However, we did put this up against the M3, and we did also add the Apple TV 4K because at first we thought maybe the upscaling not looking great was due to it being the internal apps. So then we connected the Apple TV and it didn't really look any better, to be honest. And when we were watching basketball, there was a lot of shooting and the ball was disappearing in the crowd on this TV. And we're like, oh, that sucks. Like that's a sign of it not being able to keep up with motion. And we're talking about like longer range shots, not these like short shots, but like when it was a 3, the ball would disappear sometimes, like in this. Let's see if we can get a little spot where it does that. I don't want to get a copyright strike here, though. Let me move forward. But the ball would disappear, and then we did the Apple TV, but the ball still disappeared. And then we did the M3, and it was the same thing. So it wasn't like it did better or worse. It was pretty much the same. Initially, when it was in eco mode, it was in like a neutral color and it was way too blue and I didn't like the way it looked. So we changed it to like cinema, I believe, or movie mode. And then we put it in warm too, and it was much better. So no, these are not both S95D TVs. The one on the right that we were showing is the M3. That's the wireless. There's the wireless box you can see. And then there's my Sony sound system box next to that. So we have this connected. It's got the little wireless box. I'm doing this video here for LG. It's pretty awesome. That one's coming out tomorrow. So check out the LG M3 video tomorrow because it's still pretty hot. It's an awesome TV. And if you need the, your wires in a different location, it's pretty awesome. Sorry, I'm late. A tad late. That's okay. You can always rewind. Okay, let's see. I'm moving from the. When I have this up, I can't read it over there anyways. Okay. The Sony is like a mirror in my living room. Hopefully the anti-glare of the S95D does the job. Well, the A80J is probably not quite as bright as the S95D either. So you're probably going to have a step up in brightness and the matte finish probably will help. So if you're watching dark content, and that's kind of what I was hoping to, we're going to show you some more of that. If you're watching dark content, like if you're saying sports or movies or whatever, but it's in darker scenes and you're in a bright room, you can just like see yourself in the TV as you're watching it. And that can be kind of a pain in the butt. It's not at all like that on the S95D. So I really like that. Now, yes, when there's a ton of light in the room, part of the panel can just be a little bit lifted as, I guess it would be like any matte finish TV, but this is far brighter than a lot of TVs. So it's not like, say, the X90L or even previous versions of the 900 series in Sony, where it was too dull, or even that, like the Samsung Frame, for example, 500 nit TV that had that sort of thing. That was a bit more of a challenge because it was not very bright. Now this is 3 to 4 times brighter than that. And it has a really, really good matte finish to it. So I like it. But that doesn't mean everyone will like it. And I'm interested to hear your guys' take on if you guys can feel like that's better. Okay, give me 1 second here. I got to like separate these so I can see what's going on. All right. And let me know if you guys want to see any specific content. I have it. I have a good amount. So Yeah, and I guess this is a good because I would say like obviously the M3 here is not as bright as the G3 or even the G4. This is a 83-inch as well, and that's a 75-inch S95D. So you can see the size comparison, a little difference. It does really depend on what angle you're coming from. You know, if you're here in this, you know, closer to this, now it looks the other way. Like this one's, it's just because we're closer to the Samsung. But I do think there's a pretty good significant difference between 77 and 83. I like the 83-inch size. It'd be interesting to have the QD OLEDs in 83-inch. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, nice reality comparison. Yeah, we're fortunate to have this bigger living room. That's one of the reasons we chose this place, is because we were able to have a little bit more space. Okay. So any other questions? I mean, I'm not getting that many questions. It's okay. I'll keep talking about some of the things that we like. So I told you the sound was not fantastic, but again, most time TV sounds aren't fantastic. If you want to compare it against the A95L, as someone was asking earlier, the A95L has the speakers forward facing through the screen. They're like acoustic, I don't know, they're vibrating acoustic speakers that the sound comes out of the panel. I do prefer that because it's much easier to hear, you know, dialogue directly at you if you're not using a soundbar or anything else. But most people will have, well, I don't know. If you're buying an expensive TV, maybe you're buying a soundbar. If not, you're probably gonna get better sound with the soundbar in either instance. And the motion. Now, that's another thing about this TV. I don't know if people remember, but I had been complaining about Samsung QD OLEDs and their motion and how it looked a little glitchy, and I couldn't seem to get the first or second generation versions of these Samsung TVs to have smooth motion when it comes to, you know, TV or movies or whatever. And that is not really the case this year. It seems better. We were playing, is this the Luca footage? Yeah. So we were playing this scene right here where they're going down the hill, and we played it 3 different times with 3 different motion settings, one with the motion off, one with it relatively high. So it looked a little soap opera-y. And third, we ran it more like with 2 and 2 out of 10. And that seemed to be the best. But it's probably the first time where whether I had motion interpolation off on a QD OLED, the Samsung QD OLED, it didn't bother me. Yeah, that scene, let's see, as it's coming out, like right there, that scene right there where the kids are going up in the air was kind of glitchy at 0 and 0 with motion off. It's more like in a cinema, or I guess creator's intent. I don't know how you'd explain it, but with it on 5 and 5, it was a little bit too smooth and it made you a little dizzy. But with the settings at 2 and 2, we thought it was good. And so that again is up to something that you can check out. But I was interested. I'm happy because, you know, that was pretty much the only downside to the Samsung, besides the speakers being a little different and having the One Connect box or not, is, you know, the motion control and then that upscaling that ratings has still knocked this TV for. And I believe it's still better than it was, but you know, if you look at their review, it's like a 7, I think it's a 7.3, and I'm happy to even pull that up because ratings is such a good resource. I don't know if you guys use ratings.com, but I think both of these, let's see, S95D. I'm going to pull it up for you guys and show. Let's see if I can add this in here. Present. Do I do slides? Share screen? There we go. Okay. So 8.9 mixed usage. And if you look on here, it says aggressive ABL can be distracting. I mean, 8.9 is good, by the way, but for your top TV, I think the G4 is listed at a 9.2. The A95L, I think, is a 9.1 or something. But if you scroll down, and I'm sorry, I'm going to make you guys all dizzy. Give me a second here. I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I think what I did is I compared it. And then when I did a comparison, it was, let me see where I can find the comparison. And make sure you guys ask questions here because I'm happy. Oh, there we go. I was like, where is it? Okay. So let's compare S95D. And I think let's go A95L first, and then we'll go from there. So, whoops, shoot. So 9.2, 8.9. Pre-calibration is not as good as the Sony. And then I think if you open up mixed use here like this, I don't know. I'm not really sure where I saw that. I know that when I scroll down, it's going to say that the, let's find it. Upscaling is the main thing. So that's what it is. So most of it's very similar. And I believe, the Samsung isn't getting better marks when it comes to gaming. Now, reflections, here you go. This is interesting. Reflections for the S95D is at an 8.9, whereas reflections for the Sony is at a 9.5. That's interesting. Okay, here it is with the bright. This is probably why, because right here with really, really bright picture, or I'm sorry, light, you can see it's a little bit more dispersed, and it may not be everyone's cup of tea there. But on the right, the OLEDs, traditional OLEDs do a great job of reducing reflection. That is true. But then you have that like glossy reflection of yourself on the right, whereas on the left, you just have the, do you have this much light in your room? If you do, then you're going to have to consider this. Total reflection is 2.1%, whereas glossy is only 1%. And that's probably the amount of light that is coming off in all directions. That's interesting. Calculated direct reflections is lower though on that. So very, very difficult. Again, then we got there. So here's low quality content smoothing. So that's an evaluation of a TV's ability to smooth low quality content and remove banding while conserving detail in areas not requiring smoothing. So that's not necessarily upscaling. I guess it's part of it. But you can see that the Sony does better at 8.3, whereas the Samsung is 7.3. And then smoothing the reason is the smoothing 7 to 8. Upscaling, it's got 8 versus 9. So with regards to that, it's not as good, but it's not as bad as it has been before. So I hope that information helps. Oops, better pause this. Okay. Let me see if I got any more questions. The TV looks fine. We didn't stream any movies through the Apple TV app, but when we put the Apple TV on, it looks fantastic. I mean, it's a really nice TV. It looks fantastic. The better resolution you use, the better the TV looks. I mean, it's fantastic. So I definitely think it's a good TV, and it has plenty of upside. And that's the summary of my review, more or less. I did give a little bit of secret of like why I don't have a Samsung TV right now besides the frame. I'll let you guys watch the video to get that, because that comes down to buying advice. And I feel like that is kind of the reason I'm going to save it, is that it's at the end of that video, and you need to watch my video next Saturday to get that information. And then you guys can make your own, make your own decision. Don't like the dispersed reflection with the anti-glare. It's muted, but spread. That is true. And that's, if you have a lot of light, I think it might not be as great sometimes, but if you have like average light and you don't want to see yourself in the reflection, then I think it's better. So it definitely has its ups and downs there, but it is just one feature. It does not have Dolby Vision. Samsung does not have Dolby Vision. So if that goes back to how movies look, or, if that's something you think is a requirement of these TVs, does not have Dolby Vision. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but I understand people wanting it. Dolby Vision and kind of the speakers in the back, the matte finish, all of these things are clearly part of the buying decision process. So it is what it is. All right. No, it's okay if you're off topic, Neil. Going from the R646 to a Sony in a 55-inch. I just got in the house the Bravia 7, and I'm excited to have that because from what I've been hearing, people have been saying that the Bravia 7 is nearly as good as last year's X95L, which was the top mini LED last year. And now this year, I don't think the Bravia 7, Eric, do you remember if the Bravia 7 is mini LED?
Yeah, I think so.
The Bravia 7?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not. Oh, he's going to look it up. You going to look it up? Yeah. He's going to look it up for me. I thought just the Bravia 9 was mini LED, but it might be. This Infinity Gauntlet does not keep your espresso warm. It's like almost cold. But you know what? Jen's working. She's not going to get me any. Not that I expect it. I
Yeah,
should even
Bravia
have said that.
9 is the same as the Bravia 7, just has less zones in the 7.
Okay. Doesn't say mini LED though. Oh, it does. Bravia 7 mini LED. Boom.
Yeah.
You know, I only went to a 3-day thing on Sony. You'd think I would know that, but hey, we were supposed to be having fun and not necessarily, you know, I mean, I learned a lot, trust me, but I think my video lacked the most details we thought than a lot of other people's videos. We had a good time. Okay. Is there a clear difference versus the S90D? I don't know. Probably. I mean, the clear differences are that the S90D doesn't have the One Connect box. It doesn't have the matte finish. It's not going to be as bright. You know, so those are differences. The speakers will be different. The panel structure looks different. So it's not, I mean, this TV is really like beautiful against the wall. Like you can't really, yeah, you can't see. That is as thick as the TV is all the way back. Like that's it. So it is like, what do you think? A ½ inch, maybe like 5/8 of an inch thick, the TV. It's not 3/4 of an inch, I don't think.
Which TV?
The S95D. Sorry.
Oh,
the
yeah,
new
it's
one.
pretty thin.
It's pretty thin, probably a ½ inch, 5/8 inch. You know, I bet you it says on ratings.com what it is.
Maybe an inch.
It's not an inch. What's up, Classy? Yeah, it's good to have you here. I always can kind of fact check me and make sure I don't mess up. The XR70. I can't believe you called it the XR70. It's called the Bravia 7. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but I think it is. It is. Yeah, I think so. One of the things we got to see at Sony, which it was really impressive, is how the backlight system does with regards to dimming zones, and not just on or off, but like the amount of electricity that can go through it, and like how fast it can change, and the voltage and the wattage and all that. I mean, they gave us the inside scoop from this, you know, the Sony side of it, which is probably, you know, you have to think, is it a marketing thing? It's like, you know, they're giving us the details, but Rob Brennan, who does that kind of stuff, is very smart. And he's, you know, he was showing us all the details, and I thought that was awesome. And it is impressive. It is far better than the, you know, the X90L, excuse me. And the Bravia 9 was far better than the X95L. So the new TVs from Sony that are coming out, and which is nothing to do with this video as we were talking about, are better. So I guess getting this TV off topic and pushing me off topic, Neil. No, thanks a lot, man. No, I'm just kidding. I would say get the Bravia 7. You know, I haven't even seen it. It's here. I want to unbox it and do it. It's only a 65-inch, so probably no one will watch the video because it's only a small TV, but we're still going to do it, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm just kidding. I'm sure people will watch it. So yeah.
It is 0.4 inches deep.
0.4 inches, under a ½ inch. So the S95D is very thin. That's a difference. The S90D is even thinner at the top, but at the bottom, it's like an inch plus, you know, so that's the difference. And, you know, there's a few differences. So I think we already asked this. How does it look watching cable TV? I think it looks fine. I think like a lot of these TVs, the better source you have, the better it's going to look on a high-end TV. So I think a Sony TV probably is your best for upscaling, but you know, it doesn't mean you can't get this. I think it's just fine. Here, let me press play. Here's a shot of it. It looks fine. You know, like this is from like 10 feet away, 77-inch TV, watching a Popeyes commercial, you know, and it's pretty sharp. Now, YouTube ads look better than the content you typically watch. So this ad is probably made to be at the 1080 or 720 level, whereas some of the videos are, you know, 4K downscaled back to upscaled. And then you're like, I don't know, how does it look? But, you know, when you're watching some of these, like, for example, ESPN, this NBA Today, when they're like on these Zoom calls, it doesn't look very good. When you have, come on, man, just give me something. It's hard to scroll through this content. Now I'm going back through. I really don't want to put the basketball stuff on because it'll definitely get a copyright strike if I keep it on. But I mean, that looks pretty sharp to me. It's nice and bright. It's definitely brighter than the M3. Looks good and significantly brighter, but yet they're both acceptable. So I thought it was awesome. Where am I at? Okay. Greetings from Kenya. What's up? Oh, to Jen and Caesar. Yeah. Well, Jane. I'll call her Jane. That's fine. I love these reviews, though they always leave me confused on which is the best TV to buy. Yes. I think that's a completely accurate thing to say. It is very challenging to watch reviews and then be more confident. I think you can get confidence if you have some confidence in the one you like already. But if you're like, I need help, and then you watch 20 videos on one product, then you're going to be probably more confused than you were to start, because sometimes everyone has a different opinion. But I guess that's just how it goes. But let me know which TV you want to buy, and I can tell you if you should or not, Teddy. So normally I say buy the TVs, because as content creators and reviewers, we're typically a little bit over dramatic, or over, what do you call it? Like, we're
overly analytic.
yeah, we're like, we think everything sucks because we're always trying to compare it to the absolute best. But reality is, for my time as experience installing things, people pretty much love all the TVs. So you're if you're looking at our reviews to tell you what the very best is, you're kind of missing the forest for the trees, because most TVs are going to blow you away, especially ones that are more recent. If you have an older TV, like the whole like Pioneer Plasma, it's so good. Well, you get any sort of OLED now, and you're going to be like, holy crap, that looks good. I have a really bright room, G377 or the S95D instead. I think that you can't miss with that. The G3 77-inch had the MLA technology last year. Was last year the first year or the second year of MLA? I'm not sure. I think it was the first year. I have this TV, the G3. It's fantastic. It's awesome. The S95D, I would be very happy switching and putting the S95D out in the game room. I don't think there'd be any drop off whatsoever. And probably it would look a little better in that room with regards to the reflections, because we have a big window on the side coming in, and I think it's not a direct reflection, so it probably would look better. But most of the time, the gaming goes on at night, and the brightness isn't needed from either one of these TVs to be that bright in the room. It's probably just searing my kids' eyes, and they're going to be blind later because of that, it's probably too bright. So I don't think you can go wrong. Both TVs would be fantastic. And then the G3 is probably less expensive at this point than the S95D. So maybe that's what you should go with. If you're going to wait a while and then you're going to compare the G4 versus S95D, then it comes down to the pricing later, I think that's how I would go there. Macro blocking in dark scenes. Any advice to cut it down? Yeah, that sounds like a classy comment. Or he should respond. I have no idea what macro blocking is. I'd literally have to look it up. And if you're like looking at the detail of your TV and that's where you're at, then obviously you want to get one of the best TVs, because you have specific tastes. Now I do, when I watch TVs, I get kind of peeved at like the silliest things. And that's why I have the certain TVs I have in the exact areas that I have. One currently is the A95L, which has very little downside. I think the only thing that I noticed is there's a little bit more dirty screen effect than I thought there would be on the QD OLED. Whereas this S95D was very clean. So I don't know why my 77-inch Sony TV has pretty bad dirty screen, but the panels that come from Samsung in the 77 seem to look fantastic. So a little, you can't win everything, but and which the dirty screen is?
Yeah, it's in.
Score. That's the hard part, is I just have to scrub through the whole timeline. Is it after the HDR 4K?
Let's see, I can try to find it. It's at.
Yeah, tell me where it's at.
37 minutes.
Ooh, I would have never gotten it, Eric. I was at like 50 minutes there. Okay, I got dirty screen effect. So here we go. Modern Wise is fantastic dirty screen. I mean, it kind of looks weird. I don't know why it kind of looks weird on my screen here. I don't know how it looks for you guys. There's no dirty screen though, more or less. It's pretty clean. I think there's some gridding going on in our actual camera. Is that how yours looks or no? Yours is pretty good, huh?
That's fine on here.
Yeah, I think it's because ours is this is getting cut down. The resolution of this is getting cut down, so it doesn't look as good as it does over here on his computer on Premiere on a 48-inch LG OLED too. But there's no dirty screen, so that's awesome. And then my other TV is 150-inch. Well, currently it's the M3 that's sitting there, but normally it's the 150-inch screen with the AWOL vision. So that I have that because it's absolutely massive. So, oh, let's see what Classy says. He's always got some good info. Smooth gradation on low can help macro blocking, but might cause a slight flicker in dark scenes. See, there you go. And this is why you watch Classy's channel, because he's got all the info, man. He doesn't skip on any of the details. I definitely skip on some of the details. I can only remember so much. He's definitely more analytical than me. Mac, wait, smooth gradation on low can help me. Isn't that the comment? Didn't you make the comment twice, dude? Come on, man. Come on, Classy. It must have just copied his comment twice. Okay. Here's an interesting comment from Homeboy. Homeboy, not just Homeboy, but Homeboy J1128. What is better, QLED, OLED, or mini LED, and why? Okay. I could talk about this for an hour, but what I would say is go watch our QLED versus OLED video. It has like 1.5 million views. And I think it has that many views because I try to be very simple with it. Like, it really comes down to your preferences and what you're watching and what kind of room condition you're in and what things are going to bother you and what things don't bother you. So it's more about like what you don't like as much as it is what you do like. And so my video is very like layman's terms, gives you like examples of what you could watch or what TVs you could buy. And we put it out about a year ago. So I also have the TV quiz on, if you go to betheinstaller.com, there's the TV quiz, which can help you because it goes through similar questions. It asks you questions and then it gives you some options of what TV to buy based on your answers. And then obviously it'll give you a few, but that really helps. And that's why we made the quiz, is that we wanted to help you guys. And then you can just purchase the TVs right there. But yes, I prefer OLED TVs. And the reason I like OLED TVs is because of the downsides are less, in my opinion. Now, a mini LED is brighter and it does a really good job with detail, but I don't like blooming at all. It really bothers me. And so there is no blooming on OLEDs and there is better contrast. And I can deal with having less brightness in an OLED because I rarely watch the TV at 100% brightness. Only when it's in the afternoon or evening where Jen is awake and I'm awake do we have that A95L at full brightness. And it's still not even at full brightness. It's in like professional mode and it has like low luminance, but we put it up to turn off power saving, turn off eco mode, ambient. And so it's like 50% brightness and it seems like it's really, really bright and we'll watch a show. But then as soon as she goes to bed, I forget it's on. And then it's like, it looks like the lights are still on in our room because it's so bright. So I like the OLED because it has all those things. And when it comes to highlights, I like to have the specular highlights look good. I don't need the whole screen to be 2000 nits. I just want it to look really bright. And, you know, when the stars are out or when there's an explosion or something, and that seems to be just fine for me, which that's why I like LED. Now, I'm really excited to see the Bravia 9 TV this year. I think that TV could be a mini LED TV that I could have. I wish they had it in like 100 inch though, or 115 inch. Now the TCL will have 115 inch, so that'll be interesting, but I don't think that's going to be quite as good as OLED. If they had the Bravia 9 at 115 inch, I would probably beg Sony to send it to me and I would just have that. That's it. Because it would be awesome. But I don't think they have that in that size. They're not going to have it and they probably wouldn't give it. It'd probably be like $30,000. So anyways, Lisa has the A980L and doesn't notice anything. You know, if you start messing around with the settings, sometimes you can mess it up. Also, depending on what you're watching, it can also cause issues because if you watch like low bandwidth bandwidth. If you watch content that's low resolution and it's coming in a low bandwidth, you're going to get a lot of like weird flickering even on OLED TV. It's like, why does this screen look so crappy? It's because the signal coming in is just crap. I've noticed that before when watching like really, really old shows on TV. You're just like, it looks awful. So it just, again, it depends on, and some of those like slight flicker in the dark scenes, things like that. I do notice that. So that's interesting. Okay. So you have a 55-inch A80J and you want to upgrade to a brighter TV, so you're still confused. I mean, 55-inch, you probably can get away with some of the LED TVs and not notice as much of the blooming because it's a smaller TV. I do think you notice on like an 85-inch TV more of the blooming. That's just my opinion. It also depends on if you're in a dark room. If you're in a dark room all the time, you're going to notice it. If it's in a brighter room, you're going to enjoy a brighter TV. And, you know, even an X90L or an X93L from Sony, from last year are much brighter than the A80J. So, you know, you could get that. I think if you get for example, a Samsung S90C from last year, it's going to be brighter than that TV, significantly brighter. Is that going to be bright enough for you? I don't know. Do you like the Sony TVs? Then maybe the A80J. I mean, if you like Sony TVs, then get a Sony Mini LED if you want something brighter. 55-inch X93L is the TV I would recommend. It's a fairly, very bright TV. It looks good. Mini LED has all the same stuff your Sony currently has. Google operating system. It should knock your socks off. If you don't like that, then it's the blooming issue. Then I don't know. But I think that would be, you probably would enjoy the X93L more than that TV that you currently have if that's not bright enough. LG G3 or S95D for gaming. I'll ask, Eric has been gaming on these TVs. What do you think, Eric? Which one did you like to game on better? Or are they both just fantastic?
I mean, compared to the M3, the Samsung was better.
Samsung's better than the M3.
The G3, I mean,
it's been a while. It's been like a year.
I mean, the G3 was great because it was wired straight into it. I think maybe it's something with the wireless that made it feel a little sluggish, but still, I mean, it was definitely playable.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like the LG snaps into place. Like you never have any issues with like the HDMI connection or the 4K 120 or anything like that. Sometimes when you plug into a Samsung, it does take a little bit for it to like find the source and whatever. But once you're playing, they both are, it's nearly identical. I mean, they're both OLED TVs. I guess, yeah, they're probably both good. I think it would probably be something maybe Classy could say, like, do they both have Dolby Vision gaming? Do they both have 4K 120 VRR and all the same features? I think they're pretty close.
I feel like the game bar on the LG is a bit more like
robust.
Than the Samsung one.
Yeah, they're both. So he likes the game bar better than the LG. I think both of the game bars are pretty good. But yeah, you're right. The LG, I mean, they've only come out with these game bars in the last 2 years. So yeah, and I think the S95D is probably slightly brighter. But I believe that the G3 probably scored better, at least just overall. But that's probably the upscaling. So yeah, I think they're both pretty close. Oh, the elevator caused his comment. Classy's, look at how hard he's working. He's commenting in the elevators. That's funny. The G4 is the answer to all of it. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm excited. I have the 65-inch G4 sitting out there. I have the Bravia 7 sitting out there. I have the QNED 85 75-inch sitting out there. We're getting the 86-inch. I have 3 sound bars. What else do we have out there? That's about it. We're getting another one. We're getting another sound bar. Which one?
QNED.
Yeah, I got the QNED 85 sitting out there. I think that's going to be a nice one too. So we got the AWOL Vision 2500 over here that we need to review. So, man, it's kind of making me stressed out just talking about that. Yeah, maybe I need to work all weekend. Yeah, it's not happening. I got to go watch my son play football. He's got 2 football games tonight and 2 tomorrow. And I'm coaching all of it actually. So yeah, Sony is overpriced garbage. Oh man, that's a harsh comment, Lemmy. I mean, it's definitely got that Sony tax to it. But in Sony's defense, I will say they are really, really nice TVs. I mean, man, the upscaling and the A90J that I had, still probably the cleanest looking TV I've ever had. You know, look, Classy's talking about this. Okay. 83-inch A80L is just an upgraded version of the A80J 80-90J 83-inch. I love that TV. The only reason I sold it is because 83-inch at my house looks like that on the wall. If you look on the right, you see how much wall is left on how much wall is left on the left and the right. That looks like it's an iPhone on the wall. And so I'm sitting 15 feet away from this 83-inch that's up there right now, and it's tiny. We have a TV that's 4 times the size of that now with the 150-inch screen. So, I mean, we don't need the 150-inch screen up there all the time. But even the 120-inch, once you put like the UST, which is in that cabinet right there, so that like really nice looking AWOL cabinet, and that comes out, it's so cool looking. And it goes up to a 150-inch screen. Very difficult, even if it's dimmer, to beat that with an 83-inch TV. But the A90J from Sony, that was nice. And the A95L QD OLED from Sony is fantastic for our bedroom. But again, I just am like, I never get to use it at full brightness because it would I'd get sunburned. So pretty awesome. All right, let's see what Classy is going to teach. Here you go. Preach. The G3 game mode restricted color luminance compared to out of game mode. So the G4 is the one to go for. Okay, so there you go. The S95D would be best for gaming if the coding doesn't matter. I think Classy doesn't like the coding. Am I right, Classy? You don't like the coding? Yes. So that's pretty good analysis right there. I'm sure he's got a video that probably explains a lot of this stuff over on his channel. You should check it out. Classy, I didn't get it. Eric watched the video where I'm in. Thank you, by the way. I never got a chance to watch it. I really don't watch a lot of YouTube. It's funny. My son put in I think Jacoby put in 57 hours of YouTube last week, and I put in 3. And I'm a YouTuber, but he's a kid. So that makes sense. But dude, I got to get that kid off YouTube. That's pretty crazy. I mean, it might have been 27 hours. That's still 4 hours a day for a kid. He had 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday. It's nuts. Okay. Oh, right. You can't. Duh. My bad, Lisa. Good point. Dolby Vision for gaming. That's a stupid question. We know that there's no Dolby Vision on Samsung, so they definitely don't have Dolby Vision gaming. These are the things. That's why live streams are more challenging because, you say things wrong, but it's all good. I have fun. We have fun. What's that? What are you laughing at, Eric? You laughing at me?
Yep.
Oh, he's listening to me on delay over there. Okay. All right. We got to get these questions out. I am going to have to leave in about 10 minutes. So what did I not go over yet? Let's see. Yeah, pixel shift. It's not really that important. It's a really bright TV. I don't think you can be mad about how bright it is. Obviously, the contrast is awesome. I don't mind the matte finish. Oh, here we go. So, hard time finding the benefit if light hits the screen. Got you. It's subjective. Agreed. So, Classy doesn't really like the matte finish. It's fine. I kind of already knew that. I think I saw one of your comparisons. If you put a lot of light on it, you can kind of blow out the whole screen. I feel like in a room that's just kind of average brightness, it makes it look great because you don't see yourself in the reflections. If you're across, then again, I had a room where there was a window right behind us, and I had a glossy screen, and every morning I'd flip on Sports Center, and all I would see is the window right behind me. And I feel like if it's not direct, if it's a little above me, and I think that I would like the matte finish better for those situations. But again, it's subjective. Yeah. So it's a very, very good TV overall, though. My TV, 75-inch LG, $600, looks as good as any of those expensive TVs. Well, I hate to disagree with people, but until you have them in the same room, it's really tough to make those kind of claims, because I've had a $600 LG and I've seen the light bleeding around the edges of the screen. I've seen the blooming be terrible. If a $600, maybe it doesn't even have, it's probably direct lit, so you don't even have dimming zones. So the contrast isn't going to be nearly as good. And you don't really notice the contrast isn't good until you put it up against something that has better contrast. And if you're someone that's looked at OLED TVs for the past 4 years, 5 years, I'm definitely going to notice it, and I would notice it immediately. But that's not to say you shouldn't be happy with your $600 TV. I agree with that, because again, most people are satisfied with TVs that are far less expensive than some of these that we review. So I don't know. Oh, there's a little gaming footage. Look at how good the S95 looks off angle there. Now, it's a little bit overexposed because it's challenging to expose these properly. And when we change it from one game to another or one source to another, the brightness changes, and then we don't have the camera set to automatic, because it kind of reacts a lot to the scene, where this is just a set exposure. So I wouldn't take the fact that it's blown out. It's blown out because it's way brighter. But look at how much better it looks at an off angle than even straight on than LG. That's crazy. So, The M3 is a great TV though. And no one, if you had the M3, would be like, oh, it doesn't look bright enough. It's plenty bright. I can just leave this on because that's our own copyright. What is the wall mount? Is there a wall mount you recommend for this TV so it sits as flush to the wall as possible? Well, if you're going to sit it flush to the wall as possible, then you have to put the one connect box behind it, or you have to run the one wire inside or outside of the wall. Technically, it's not supposed to be inside the wall, but if you wanted to put it inside the wall and you're just going to do it anyways, then you could get basically a perfectly flush mount. They have some like Sanus ones online that are like super, super, there's me in my really nice t-shirt. Super, super tight to the wall. And you could buy a cheap one. I made a video on on TV mounts on Amazon. You could look it up. But there's like a Sanus one at Best Buy that's super flush. They can show you which one it is. You can buy one online. Just find the flushest mount possible. If you're going to put the one connect box behind the TV, then you're going to need a little bit more depth, and you'll need almost like an arm mount, to be honest. Either way, it can look really tight, or it doesn't. It can't, depending on how you're going to do it. So there's like 2 questions you have to answer: where you're going to put the one connect box and all that. So, all right. Ooh, here we go. I want to buy a 65 to 77 inch TV for the living room for the next 10 years. What would you recommend? And when should we pull the trigger? You either buy last year's models now, or you wait until late summer and buy this year's. To be honest, that's what I would do, because you're not going to want to pay full price right now for like this year's TVs, unless you're a big time video file and you're like, I want it right now and I want it the best. So I can't tell you, there's a lot to that. Again, I would probably recommend you go watch the OLED QLED video, maybe take the quiz. Living room TV, do you like OLED? Do you like QLEDs? How much do you want to spend? Is there a lot of brightness in your room? All that kind of stuff. Otherwise I don't even know where I'm choosing here. Okay. Right now I have a Samsung Touch of Color from 2009. Is that the red screen? Is that the red bezeled TV? Because if that's so, I had that too. And anything will look better than that now. I mean, this is a good TV, but technically a mech engineer, you need to give me a little more details. Longevity matters to you most? Well, that still doesn't help. I mean, all of these TVs are hopefully going to last 10 years. Is there a wall? Okay, I already did that one. You can use Samsung frame, the super slim mount. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, the Samsung frames, there's some screws in the back that must work then if he's talking about that. Because I noticed the holes in the back, but I never have connected the Samsung frame mounts to that. But I guess that would work. That would be cool. Okay, I'm going to have to leave here in a minute. How long have we been going? Oh, 52 minutes. Last questions. Any other questions? Make sure to, I put a link. I pinned a link. I don't know. Did it even work? I pinned a link up there for the Galaxy Watch. Even if you're not going to buy a watch, go ahead and click on it. Check out the watches. So it makes me look good. And, if you haven't bought something for the missus or the mother, clearly they probably don't want a giant TV, but maybe they want a wearable. There's all kinds of crap at Best Buy. Hey, just give you an opportunity to go into Best Buy and check out things if you have it in your area. Technically, I'm mech engineer. If you want my answer, just go buy a X93L mini LED TV from Sony. There you go. I think the X93L was a very good balance of awesome TV, longevity, mini LED, quality. So if you're getting a 75 inch or a 65 inch, go get that. If you want to get an OLED, I would probably say the C3 from last year, the LG C3, or there's a 77 inch Samsung S89C at Best Buy that is like $1,800. If you can get that in your area, the 77 inch, technically a mech engineer, click on the link above, go to Best Buy. If you see S89C in your area, buy it. It's fantastic. And it'll last you a long time. You get the, the Best Buy Total Tech, whatever it's called. And there you go. That's what I got for you. 2 TVs, one's a Samsung, one's a Sony. Either one of them, fantastic. Okay, S90C 83 inch or LG C3 83 inch. I think the S90C is a brighter version of it. It doesn't have Dolby Vision. Why am we just watching a blank screen behind this? I should put some content on for you guys. I think you can't really miss with those. Either one of those would be fine. Me personally, I'd probably get the C3. The LG's been doing OLEDs forever. I just like the LG OLEDs. And if I was going to get a Samsung, I might get the top one, or, you know, you have to watch my video next Saturday about my whole philosophy on Samsung TVs. But the S90C, I think Classy would probably say maybe that one. I think the LG C3, I just prefer it. So that's just my opinion. Real quick, let's see. Accurate game. Oh, yep, that's totally not a question for me because I don't have any accurate game settings. There you go. But I'm glad my friends can help. And that's why it's good to watch all kinds of reviewers, because I'm not the end all be all on TVs by any means. Yeah, I like Google TV. I don't really like, I mean, I don't mind the Android TV, but the Google TV is even better. I like how I don't know how to say it, where you can see all the stuff that you use on different TVs. Like you can pause a game on one and then all of a sudden I have it on my phone and it like picks up immediately where I left off. I go back upstairs, I press play and it is exactly where I left off on my phone. That sort of thing, YouTube TV, YouTube videos, all kinds of apps, fantastic. And then the other end, I hate smart TVs. That's weird. That's funny. So his comments must have come in backwards. Okay, my parents bought a Sony A80J 2 years ago. Now the thing has dead pixels. What? Oh, I thought it said what the F, but it says Wi-Fi is dead and software has become very slow. Not an isolated case, as I always read. You know, man, I mean, TVs all, if you go online and you search for an issue and you find all the people that have an issue, you just have to remember that's like 100 people out of 1 million TVs or something. I don't know how many TVs are sold. So you're going to find all the issues with your TV. There's no question about that. But everybody has that issue. Oh, yeah, Mr. Danny, give me a second. So you're going to find all the problems. This is true. Hey, thanks for doing the super chat. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. Looking to buy a 100-inch TV. Ooh, what is the 100-inch TV that we like the most? Now, the TCL S5 is the one that I've said all year because it is very inexpensive. And it's very good. I love it. I actually have one if you want to buy it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not selling. Maybe I'm selling it. I'm in San Diego. If you're talking about euros, you're not buying it from me because I'm not shipping it overseas. If you can get the Hisense U8K, U76K, I think both of them are mini. At least the U8K is a mini LED, and that was a relatively similar price. Budget $3,000. There you go. Yeah, I think it was something like that. It was something like that. But if you can get that, that's a mini LED, even better. And I think they're rolling that over this year. I don't believe that. Oh, Hisense is coming out with new, bigger TVs, but I think the U8K was remaining. Wasn't that she said in the back room that one? You remember that at CES?
Oh, yeah.
I think the U8K 100-inch is staying, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to have like the UX or something too.
Yeah.
Like, so they're going to have some new ones. But Mr. Danny Slade, if you can wait a little bit and see when all the Hisense ones come out and kind of time it and get that other one, you probably can get it at maybe they'll discount it back down to like $2,000 again, or maybe it is $3,000. But look it up, U8K 100-inch. I would probably go for that if it's not the TCL S5. The S5 doesn't have as good a contrast and not as bright, but I thought it was fantastic. It's a direct lit TV too. It doesn't have dimming. Doesn't have dimming zones. No, it doesn't have dimming zones. So the contrast won't be like OLED level, but I thought it was fantastic. So you can't really go wrong because, again, the TCL looks good. It's bright, and it's got the Google TV operating system that I had said I like. But, you know, as Mr. Donald says, so many options, so many endless options, and that is true. But, yeah, I would do that, Danny. And you could always check out – Samsung's going to have a new one. They're having – what's it called? It's a 9000 series that's going to be around this price. So there's a new Samsung, and they actually, can I say it? I think we're out of the embargo thing, right?
For Samsung?
Yeah. I mean, They showed us the new Samsung 100-inch, 98-inch versus they had a version of the TCL. And as long as it wasn't like, you know, like throttled down, the Samsung one looked a lot better. So it made me be like, huh, I don't feel like this was the comparison that I was expecting. So if you want to wait and check out the Samsung, it looked better. I've never really considered buying a lower end Samsung TV though, because I typically don't like them. So for me, I probably wouldn't, but yeah. anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. My first impression of the S95D is that it's awesome. I think the matte finish is okay in my books. It's really good for gaming, really bright for HDR. Doesn't look that out of the ordinary fantastic for, you know, low resolution content, but it looked no worse than the other TVs we had in the house. And the Apple TV did not upscale any better. So I hope that helps. I'm going to have a review on this coming out next weekend, and make sure to check the links in the description if you're looking to buy anything. And I appreciate you guys' support. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on the next video.